It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a Thursday episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. Nielsen, Cass, and Gage are back with you once again on the Nielsen Media Cool Bet Network. If you want to bet on the Hurricanes and the Panthers tonight, of course, you can do that over at Cool Bet. If you don't already have an account, use the code 2GUYS when you sign up. And if you deposit 100, they'll give you 100. If you deposit 200, they'll give you 200. If you deposit 300, they'll still only give you 200. 200 is the max limit. All right, boys. Look, we were just having this discussion. Gage, you're robbed of just a phenomenal long weekend. This is a tough pill to swallow for you, buddy.
This is, I can't tell you how disappointed this week has been. First, thinking we'd have a game 7, maybe continuation with the Oilers. We were getting back to Yamo in the race week. I was all prepared. My daughter has a dance competition that my wife and daughter are gone already. I have the house to myself. My boy's around, but he's like,
is he
he's
really
like a
though?
roommate. Is
Yeah.
he? No, not really. He's not even here half the time. So I had it all planned. I was going to even come in and surprise with an AM nasty on Friday morning, just because I could.
And there's so much stuff going on.
We could have watched, probably discussed a little bit of some practice, and it all just went right down the pooper for me. Just absolutely horrendous. Cass is gloating because he has another week in first place in our pool.
Drivers and constructors, I will say, the pool. So I have the first overall team in the highest combination team.
Holy smokes.
He sucks.
Who are you, Christian Horner? You piece of shit. Unbelievable.
So yeah, Dusty, it's
that's tough.
It's I'm moping around the house alone. So whatever.
Poor guy. Cass, what's up, buddy? How are you doing? What do you got? Any sympathy here for Gager or what?
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel bad. I don't feel bad about the race. Because I don't. It's not like it impacts me as much. But I feel bad for Gager because I want to see my friend happy.
Yeah,
and I want to see him have a good weekend. So I feel bad about that, but I don't feel bad about winning at all, and I don't feel bad about maintaining the lead right now. So that's okay. I mean, really, I guess maybe it is a bad thing now that I think about it, because I clearly was going to win again and further extend my
oh
lead.
My goodness! So, listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, the Red Bull of Gager's F1 league. I didn't think we'd get there for a guy who was late joining last year. Unbelievable. All right, boys, it's been a post-mortem few days here on the Edmonton Oilers. McDavid, Draisaitl, Ekholm. Who else talked? Kane, Skinner, Hyman had some good things to say, and then Ken Holland and Jay Woodcroft yesterday. Of everything that you guys have heard since the season ended, Cass, what stands out to you the most, buddy?
I thought everything was fairly typical. I mean, the Ken Holland stuff was interesting to me because you don't know, he does look like he's going to finish out his term as GM, but then it's going to be kind of up in the air a little bit. So to me, it's going to be interesting in what I'm pulling from that, especially the comments about Steve Staios and how you're going to try to get some other people involved and some of the day-to-day stuff that's going on is like, okay, Ken Holland basically is going to be in a GM position, but he's going to be kind of a coaching GM. And what I mean by that is not like of Jay Woodcroft, but like coaching the other assistant GMs on taking on more responsibility. I mean, you already have Keith Gretzky, you already have Bill Scott, and now Steve Staios looking like he's coming on board and starting to take on a role here. All of a sudden, you're going to be turning over more and more of the responsibility. So what's concerning isn't the right word, not at all. What's intriguing to me is how is this going to affect the player personnel decisions that happen this summer and over the course of the year, knowing that Ken Holland, he's going to go through with his contract, but then after that, he's probably done. I don't think he wants to do it anymore. He wants to relax. He wants to be finished. And so it's like, okay, well, these other gentlemen that are helping him run, how much impact are they going to have on the decisions that are made here that are going to affect the team for a number of years? That was the most intriguing one to me, because I was just like, okay, I think if I'm going to pull anything from anybody, what Ken Holland says right now, especially heading into a summer where there's going to be some changes and some tweaks, what's he thinking, where he's at, and so for me that was the interesting one.
Gage, what about you, buddy?
I got to run into Steve this year in the press box. It was good to catch up with him. And such a nice guy. And he kind of went through his whole, like, I asked him, how did you end up doing this? And he went through his whole kind of what he did and how it happened in Hamilton. Kind of, he almost basically fell into the GM job and just learning on the fly. And the one thing that I always wonder about is my old buddy Tyler Wright has been kind of Ken Holland's wingman for a number of years now. He's just been with him for so long. I never talked to Tyler about this, but in the back of my mind, I thought, wow, isn't he kind of doing the same thing that Ken Holland did to get to his position to become a GM, just being a scout and then director of player person, just move. I thought you would see Tyler become maybe in line to maybe not become GM, but assistant GM. And there's not a lot of talk about him yet still. So I was actually more surprised about them saying Steve Staios is the kind of heir apparent, when I think there's a lot of guys that have a lot of knowledge that have been with that organization for a little bit longer. That, I mean, I guess it's a total team and they're trying to keep that together. And that's what it's going to take a village, I think, with Ken Holland leaving, right? So,
well, go ahead, finish, Gager.
No, that's basically what I had.
I was just going to say, and I will say, I'm completely biased. I will uncover and reveal my complete bias on this to you because he's a friend of mine. But Bill Scott was the only person to hang around post Chiarelli. Everyone else they moved on from, and that is, and he does a lot with the cap for the Oilers, but. In my opinion, the reason that they kept him because he is young, he is extremely smart, and he is very, very good at what he does. And he ran, I mean, from an AHL standpoint, he ran the AHL team prior to the change in management with Chiarelli going out and Holland coming in. And he was the only one that Ken Holland kept around, probably because he's very good at what he does. And he still, again, is young and someone that has a tremendous future in front of him. And he's one too, where it's like, I don't really hear people ever talk about it, but I'm like, behind the scenes, he does some really, really good work for the team. And he could be another one where I was like, okay, if all of a sudden his name started to get thrown around, I wouldn't be shocked or surprised by it. Staios did kind of come out of nowhere, but I mean, we are in Edmonton, and Edmonton does love having former players do things in the organization, which is in a lot of ways fantastic.
Yeah, other people do it too, right? Other places,
other teams do it too.
All businesses do it to an extent.
That's true.
All businesses do it. Look, Joe Sakic, right? I mean, you look at Sakic, you look at Eyes. I mean, you have
Rob
people
Blake.
that do that.
Yeah,
Rob Blake. I mean, so it's not unheard of. But just the speed at which it kind of became like, oh, he could be a guy all of a sudden to step in was a little bit interesting. But
because you look at over the past 5 years of Ken Holland being here, the Oilers have drafted quite well, I think.
Yep.
Like, they've got some really, and that a lot of that falls on like Tyler has done a really good job of, maybe not so much in Ontario. He does. I don't know why he doesn't go back to Ontario to watch some games, but he's doing a good job everywhere else, it seems like, and some really good prospects that the Oilers have in their stable.
Well, it's interesting because I think a lot of people who would probably be watching or listening to this later would say, well, what about Brad Holland? Because Brad Holland's been a guy who's been involved quite a bit as well. Like, there's a lot.
There's
a few different guys that you could put in the mix here this.
One of the interesting things too with that, because there are so many people, is at some point you're going to start losing these people, and that's the tricky thing here, because there are really good people who are good at what they do and have been good at what they do, and some of them young. I mean, you look. Even like Brad Holland's not old,
no,
right? Like, he's got a long runway left. Staios too. I mean, it's not like Steve's old. He's
Bill Scott's not old either, right?
Bill Scott's not old. Like, they all, and I'm not sure how old Tyler is. I think, is he a couple years older than you, Gager?
No, he's my age.
Okay, so he's right around your age. So same thing. So still young.
We're 50.
Like,
oh, Jesus.
Yeah, have lots of runway left in this, and it's like, okay, well, you're going to have to start to make decisions, and some of these other people are going to start to get interviews and opportunities elsewhere because they're good at what they do.
Yeah, but it sounds like with Ken Holland, the way he operates compared to what I can neither confirm or deny how Chiarelli it was more of a dictatorship when he was around. To Holland seems more of lack of a better term, Knights of the Round Table. That he uses the people around him more. Obviously, the buck stops with him, but he really leans on the people he has surrounding him to make those important decisions.
I think you have to.
You have to.
You have to. I mean, I would equate it in my business too. Just in real life, it's just like, no, I have to ask other people for their opinions and thoughts, and ultimately the decisions end up being mine. But it's just, it's like, well, no, there's people that have been doing this for either longer or that are very, very good at what they do, and it's like, well, yeah, you need that input. I think so. I think that's a quality that Ken Holland has.
Cass, I didn't know you were friends with Bill Scott, so I'll just ask you this. Was it wrong of me this year to use his 7-year-old's ice time against him for information about the hockey team? I'd be, hey, you got 8 tidbits? Oh, well, that's the case. Well, then guess what? Will's not playing today. It's real greasy move. Like, you got to do what you got to do to get information nowadays, man.
I understand. No, I don't think I've never actually pressed Bill because we are friends, and so I don't ever want to put him in a position where he's just like, so I don't think he's ever. He's never given me anything.
And
I've never asked for it.
I said to Will, he's young, he's a great little kid, and I said, hey, do you know if your daddy and his friends are going to trade Jesse Puljujarvi yet? Do you know? Like, you tell me? Oh, that's great. All right, keep going, buddy. Good work. Like, so we'll see what happens. You know, on this whole conversation, had this discussion with Rashag on my show this morning, like, because he said, well, they could look out, external candidates as well. But if Holland's going to step down as GM, let's just say at the end of next season, and the first order of business is the Leon Draisaitl extension, Cass, would you rather have that done with somebody that McDavid's been around for a long time, or a fresh face that just, to me, just wouldn't fit in with the group, you know?
To me, and with what you're trying to build here, to have someone come in that may change, I mean, because especially with Ken Holland's way of saying, okay, I want input from everybody, is like the direction that this is going and the purpose and the objective behind different signings, different trades, different draft picks, everything. You want the cart to keep pulling down the same road here, because we've seen a dramatic improvement. Now, I know we're disappointed in this season, so are they, but we've seen dramatic improvement over the last number of years. Ken Holland has done some really, really good things. To me, to all of a sudden bring in someone completely from outside to blow it up, I'm not a fan of that. I mean, could you do it? Of course you could do it. Could you look outside? Of course you could look outside. But I would rather promote from within in this instance and have Ken Holland work with. And if it's one of those guys that we've already talked about, we'll have them involved with the players, have them involved with discussions, have them involved so that when it does come time for negotiations, the player's already comfortable. I mean, you have someone you have a relationship with that that you can talk to, that understands you, that you understand. To me, I would way rather want to look internally inside the organization than externally to find that fit.
Gage, it just seems like it would make more sense, right?
Well, I mean, you guys are closer, but remember when your kids are little and you get some Lego and they think you're going to build it and you just push them to the side and you build the thing and then you got it done and you're happy. You go get yourself a beer, come back to look at your work, and they've taken the whole thing apart and thrown everything around. Ken Holland doesn't want that to happen. That's the worst feeling in the world. So yeah, I think he wants to look outside. I don't think so. I think he'd like someone with a little bit more knowledge of what's going on and kind of keep his legacy moving forward, I think, with his vision of the team.
Great word. Build on the legacy. That's what I was thinking.
My son's a Lego genius. Like, since he was 6, he just boom, boom, boom. The kid's putting together, it's like 200 steps on some of this shit. And he's just banging it out before I get up in the morning. Like, it's wild what kids can do with Lego.
Dusty's on step 5, yeah.
Mando and Grogu.
Look at my boy went and picked up. They're the kid things.
Yeah,
it's got them. But we've got the DeLorean actually going right now. So we can build 3, like from Back to the Future 1, 2, or 3.
All 3 types of DeLoreans.
Yeah, but you can only build one type. So we're doing 2. We've been taking a break, but we're Lego is the best, man.
That gets me excited. Yeah, that's good. Ken Holland talked about bananas yesterday and how he doesn't like to buy green bananas because he's not sure he's going to get around to the ripe bananas when they're ready to go. Cass, first of all, you a big banana guy yourself? I'm a big banana guy. I love bananas.
I like bananas. I always, my wife gets, well, she doesn't get mad at me, but I always buy way too many on purpose because then, some don't get eaten. and then she has to make banana bread to use them. So I intentionally buy like way too many on purpose. But no, I like bananas. They're yummy. Good source of potassium. They're healthy. They're delicious. Throw them in a smoothie, you know.
Yeah, we do lots of smoothies around here with bananas. I like all types of bananas. Now, I'm not, as soon as there's any sort of brown on them, I'm like, ugh, I can't do it. Like it has to be, I love perfect
brown
bananas.
is okay,
I guess is what I'm
but
saying.
brown is, they're more sugary with more
On the
right?
outside, but are you talking inside, like the actual
No,
banana?
no, I was talking outside.
Okay, outside's
yeah.
fine. Yeah, outside's fine. But if you open it up, like you're really excited for a banana, you open it up, it's all bruised to shit. It's a real buzzkill. It's a buzzkill. Gage, are you anti-banana?
Freeze it and save it for banana bread, Dusty.
Which is delicious. Yeah. Wait a
Bananas
second. What's this?
Bananas bug me. My wife always buys them, and they sit out, and there's fruit flies everywhere, and I get mad, and she goes, "No, put them in the freezer." And then I got the vacuum sealer for the meats that I put together and stuff, and then there's no room because I got these black batons in the bottom of my freezer. It takes forever for the banana bread to get made because I don't make that shit. And they're okay in smoothies, but it's like she buys them just to make me mad. So it's working.
My wife does bring in a surplus of bananas. Like we usually have bananas at like 3 different phases. And if they get to phase 4, then it's the same thing. We get banana bread 2.5 months later. Like it doesn't really happen very often. Okay, so with what Ken Holland said, boys, would you view Broberg as a green banana that might not be ripe by the time Ken Holland's done with this roster?
Yep.
Yeah, Cass, you think?
I've said that the last couple of years, and you guys were like, no, he's going to be Nick Lidstrom. Like, he's going to be the best defenseman
I don't
in the
know if
world.
we were throwing around Nick Lidstrom's here, buddy. Come on.
No, you guys have both. I'm sure one of our listeners could find which episodes, but you guys have both said he's going to be a top pairing guy. There's been a lot of people that have said that, and he still may be. It is possible he gets there. But to me, I'm like, you're in win today mode. You are in win today mode. And if you have to trade Broberg, you trade Broberg. You have to. Like if you need to trade Broberg to get a top
like
6 guy,
Broberg and Ceci for like a top, like a legit or something like that, right? Like you have to do that.
Like if you package him in with someone or whatever to make the money, like whatever you're doing with it, I am 100% completely open to trading him. Completely. I mean,
is that because of you have to win, or is that because there's elements of his game that you actually think
you have to win?
Okay.
Not because it is.
I was going to say, like, is there something you don't like about him?
No. He skates well. He can move the puck. He's young. He needs to develop. He needs to learn. I have zero issues with his game. None. He skates really well. He moves the puck well. Needs to work sometimes on decision making. Needs to work on timing. Needs to work on gap control. Like there's things he's got to get better at. But he's young and has the ability to do so. To me, it's completely about winning now, today. Like this is like you got to push the chips in here at some point. And you started to with the Ekholm trade. Like you started to move that direction. And I think you even more so the next 2, like guys, the next Gage, you're scowling at me, but it's like, are the next 2 years?
I'm just, that's what I do when I'm thinking.
Years?
Gage scowls when he thinks.
No, I hate when you make sense, Cass. That's all.
Like if you got to move, you got to move. I don't like having to, but at the same time,
if you come up empty in the next 3 years without a Stanley Cup, and you've got Broberg who became a second pairing left shot guy behind Nurse because Ekholm's gone now, then failed mission. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And he's gonna like even if he plays like he's a left shot guy, like is he gonna play? And you have Kulak, so it's just like where does he gonna fit? Where is he gonna fit? So again, to me, it's like he's prime piece number 1 because for a young, again, defenseman with a lot of upside potential, you're going to be able to actually get a return for him.
It's not unfair to say that there will be no room for him for the next 2 years.
No, there's not.
Really?
I
mean, that's not unfair. Yeah, Kulak
and if I'm looking between him and Kulak, who gives me in the next 2 years a better chance to win a cup? It's Kulak.
You ever see Rocky 2 when Mick ties Rock's arm when he can only use his right hand.
Forces
I
him to
send
fight
Kulak
right.
back to Sweden and give him a like a right-handed stick, so he just shoots right.
You mean
Send Bro
becomes-
back. Send
or
Broberg
Broberg
back.
Broberg back, and so he becomes back as a right-handed defenseman, and then you fix it. So there you go.
Fix your problem. There you go.
Because you're right,
Problem
he doesn't. He's going to run into problems. I don't want to get rid of Kulak, but if you can, if something comes along that on the right side that looks like Ekholm, I would definitely entertain something with that. If
I think that's what it would have to be, right? It would have to be a legit top 4 Ekholm type that would involve Broberg in a deal. Like we're not sitting here saying give him away. We're just saying a sacrifice might have to be made, right? Like what was it on Game of Thrones? Remember when the guy tied his daughter to the thing and they sacrificed her? They literally lit his daughter up. That's what could happen with Broberg here, basically.
She looked like a snake, though. Broberg's way better looking.
You can't sacrifice a kid just because she doesn't look good, Gage. Jeez Louise. That being said, Broberg does look pretty good, doesn't he? He does. Okay, well, let's just stick with the defenseman quickly here. And then I want to get to some Coyote stuff for sure, and then we'll get Canes and Panthers. What's Bouchard's deal look like here, Cass? He's an RFA. Barry moving on, let us really see, he's going to get 70 points next year. So what do you do here with Bouchard, and what's this deal look like?
It's tricky because Edmonton needs a bridge deal. Bouchard's going to want a long-term deal. And it's like, well, do you take a slightly cheaper bridge deal, or do you give him just a longer-term deal now? Like it's tricky. With that being said, the power play is so good. He hasn't had 70 points yet.
No, being the key word.
Yet being the key word. And so you're going to have to find a balance of like, okay, well, this is the upside swing here, but maybe you look to do something between 5 and 7 years. And you try to get that number down a little bit to say, hey, look, we're going to give you term. We're going to give you long term. You know, you're going to make a lot of money here. But that dollar value is going to be a little bit less.
Like 7 years, $5.5 million or something like that. Like more than the Clefbaum deal, but kind of like the Clefbaum deal. The Clefbaum deal in the long term, it was like, oh, this is a great number. Like, the modern day Clefbaum deal.
But here's the thing: is he's going to probably want a bridge deal. He's going to want a 2-year deal
because he can go out and put up 140 points in the next 2 years, and then demand $8 million at least.
Demand $8 million, $9 million, right? So
if he's on that power play.
And he's going to be, right?
Yeah, he could get close to 80 points next year on that power play.
Potentially, yep.
So, but everyone forgets how bad he was at the beginning of the year too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the yet part that's the
but
thing.
He's like Kulak too. Kulak didn't have a great regular season either. These two guys, they play way better in the playoffs. Like they upped their game. I know. With Bouchard, it was a little bit getting rid of Barry and getting more responsibility
and having
Ekholm, and having Ekholm. But I mean, you can't tell me in the past 2 seasons, Bouchard's been one of their really good top defensemen. The way he's played, even with the, I just wonder if that doesn't make sense.
What are you gonna say? Okay, all right.
No. I'm Broberg. Do you wait to see what you have first?
Broberg?
Yeah.
Like give him more. But I don't know where you play him though. Like
I know, but you're going to run into injuries maybe. I know.
Yeah, good point.
Hampered. Like, is he more of a trade deadline thing, or I guess if it just comes along, you got to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see what he can do a little bit more, right? Like. Because he still seems like a defenseman to me, just getting out there and just trying to do a good enough job that he doesn't get scored on, right? And you watch him in the American League, and he's just like, screw it, I'm just going to take this end to end. So he has a definite levels of his game that we haven't seen yet, but I think Absolutely. It's because he wants to get out there next shift, so he's kind of hampered by what he's able to try on the ice.
You could keep him, And, you're right. Somebody might get hurt. He could actually play like 15, 16 minutes a night for 40 or 50 games. And who knows, maybe you're like, oh, shit, look at this guy. Like, he does have confidence now, and he can play significant minutes in the postseason. So, I don't know. It's just going to come down to what the price tag would be. Like, if he's the guy that gets you the guy that's supposed to take you to the next level, right? So,
but you gotta, like, if you look at the Knights and their D, it's all experience, all older, and just hard-nosed, hard to play against. Regular season's one thing, playoffs are a whole different beast, and how does that translate for a young defenseman having a good regular season and going into the playoffs too? Everything's a crapshoot, but yeah, I'd like to see a more, I hate to say it, but a more established guy for the right side.
All right, let's quickly slide over Arizona. It gets voted down, and it wasn't even close. Tempe residents voted down. Cass, it looks like the end of the Coyotes now. They've said that they're going to play in Mullet Arena next year. Houston is one of the places where you played in Houston, right?
Houston.
What's Houston like, do you think, for a hockey market?
I think you absolutely. I think you. Sorry, I'm just going to start hitting buttons. I don't know. I'm just going to turn the volume all the way down. There we go. Yeah. Someone, it's Gary Bettman. He's calling to tell me not to talk about it.
Don't you dare say a thing about Houston, Cass.
No, listen, Houston is you have enough people. You have people that like hockey. You have people that watch hockey. You have historically you get good crowds there. Hockey has been in Houston. Not the last couple of years, but prior to that, it's been in Houston for a long time and had for minor league teams a lot of success. Les Alexander for years and years and years and years was trying to bring an NHL team there. You have an NHL ready building at the Toyota Center downtown. You have everything you need to have a successful team there. I think that the one trick that's going to need to be in play with Houston is your schedule makers have to be smart. Your schedule makers have to try to stay away from Sundays. Now, if you stay away from Sundays in Houston, you're going to have good crowds, great crowds, and you can have a successful NHL franchise there, because in the AHL, on a Friday night, you get 8,000, 9,000 people. In the AHL, on a Saturday night, you would get 12,000, 13,000 fans in an AHL game. You would have fantastic attendance. Now, on a Sunday afternoon, you get 2,000. Right, because everyone's watching football. That's the culture down there. But to me, it's one of the few untapped markets that's still in the States that's still completely viable. Is
that arena in a really good spot there? Is it?
It's
like
right
downtown.
In
the thick of it. Okay, all right, yeah.
Right in the thick of it, right off the highway. It's not far from Minute Maid, where the Astros play. You're right downtown, right in the thick of it. It's Houston, so you're driving an hour anyways, anywhere. It's just, if you're on the outskirts of the city, it's just a big city, because it's 5 or 6 million people, really, in the Houston and the exterior population. But you absolutely have it. You have enough Canadians there and people with Canadian ties that are going to, you talk about wanting that with Arizona, all the Canadians that snowbird down there. Well, you have a ton of Canadians that just live in Houston because of the oil and gas industry. There's a lot of people that are down there that would or can or will bite into it. To me, it's the logical choice. And I still don't get why they chose to play in Mullet Arena over top. Maybe that's just to try to encourage the team to stay there. And part of this thing, I was shocked that the deal didn't go through. And that it was beaten as much. And maybe I was talking with my dad about it, and he's like, I wonder if it was just voter apathy, where everyone was like, people that were just, that were really opposed to it went out and voted, and people that were for it were just like, it's going to pass. It'll get through, whatever, and just kind of let it go. I don't know if that's the case, but yeah, Houston would be a great market, 100%. You just got to plan the schedule right.
Gidger, do you think Gary Bettman salvages this in Arizona somehow? They're going to give him another year and Mullet. Does he somehow suck in the Suns owner to renovate their building and buy them? I don't know what you're supposed to do. I just feel he won't give up.
No, the team sucks, and they're going to suck next year. So how are you going to sell a shitty team to fans? They've been awful. So it's the same thing. They go to Houston. Yeah, they'll probably not get many fans. But once they get good, people will come. People will always come. They're not going to be the number one team in that market. There's too many. Americans like hockey, but only if their team's good, right? It's like anything. It'll do well once they turn things around, but yeah, time to get out of Phoenix. It's ridiculous. They've done too much. I'm tired of seeing nobody in the stands until the conference final if they manage to get there, which is ridiculous.
The Mike Smith run. Remember Mike Smith was in there when they went on that run. Yeah.
So yeah, it's ridiculous. Get out of there. I know it's sad because who doesn't like to see Shane Doan on the back of a horse, riding around, and it's pretty cool. But it's done its time.
All right, boys. Canes and Panthers tonight. Cass, what do you think? Who do you like?
I think it's going to be tight. I probably lean slightly towards Panthers. I mean, I love Jordy Martinuke's a friend. He's been inhuman.
He's been lighting it up. 10 points last series. Come on.
Can that continue? And if it can't continue, where are they going to get the goals from? I still think just not having Svechnikov is a complete game breaker really, really hurts the Canes. And with that being said, they play a really good game, really complete game. If they get some goaltending, it's going to be tight. But I think I lean I probably call Panthers in 7.
Okay, that'd be a great series.
I call Panthers in 7.
Yeah, that'd be good. Gager, what do you want? I'm on Carolina. I think Carolina gets business taken care of in 6. But Gager, what do you think?
Oh, Panthers in 5. This is this wave is rolling, and there's no stopping the Tkachuk train. You got Bobrovsky looking like a Vezina winner. It's over. They can't do it with the firepower they're missing. If they had Svechnikov, I would actually say he would be the difference maker and go with the Canes because he's just so good. But
they are getting Teravainen back, I believe, so that'll help a little bit.
That is something.
Yeah, it's something. But I mean, it's amazing what they've done already without essentially a number one line. It's amazing. But I just think what the Panthers have done and the level that they're operating at, it's going to be very difficult to beat that team. I just don't think they'll be able to handle it.
The numbers right now over at coolbet.com, presenting sponsor of Two Guys and a Goalie. Florida Panthers plus 116 to win the series and plus 121 to win game 1 tonight. So a little bit of value there and some money to be made if you do believe in the Florida Panthers. I will never go against my man Jesse Puljujarvi, even if he's in the press box. I think listen, how good is that team if he can't even get into the lineup, boys?
Hey, does he come back if they win? Does he come back to Edmonton with the cup and go down Jasper and hitch a ride with someone?
JP prayed. Yeah,
he should. I mean,
on the back of a bison. Down Jasper with the Stanley Cup. That would be perfect.
Champion returns. That would be pretty incredible. All right, boys. Hey, it's a long weekend. Enjoy your long weekend. We'll get back next week on Thursday and try to figure out who's going to trade for Kyler Yamamoto. We'll do that on the next episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. Gager, enjoy all that free time to yourself, man. And Cass, I'm sure you've got something going on with the kids, so you have fun with that too, buddy.
I will. We're through the toughest part of potty training with my youngest. So
you basically have raised your children now, man. You're home good. Free. Yeah, that's good. Nothing bad ever happens after that.
Yeah,
it doesn't end.
Ever,
I got to teach my kid how to scrape up the skid marks on the toilet after he's in there.
See you guys later. Have a good weekend. Yeah.